In a quiet, remote town called LUMA, something unusual was stirring. Not everyone knew it, but darkness often hides behind beauty. And in this town lived a young woman named Amina. Amina, whose beauty could stop men in their tracks, whose smile lit up streets, whose eyes held warmth, kindness, and something else. Something no one could ever see. Her secret. Men from near and far came to ask for her hand. They brought flowers, gifts, even promises of wealth and comfort. They whispered words of love, pledges of devotion, but Amina, she could never say yes. Not because she didn't want love, no. Her heart longed for connection, but there was a fire within her, a fire that no man could ever satisfy, and it had been there for as long as she could remember. Amina's parents often praised her beauty, urging her to settle down. "Amina, you are so beautiful, why do you linger alone?" they would ask. And she would smile, deflect, tell them she wasn't ready. But the truth, the horrifying truth, was far darker. One man could never fill the void, never quiet the fire that burned inside her relentlessly. Sometimes it was 2 men, sometimes 3, sometimes 10 in a single day. Not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. The fire demanded it. Since she was 15, Amina had felt the strange, unrelenting heat in her body. A heat that left her restless, anxious, even desperate. She tried to hide it, to ignore it, to seek answers. She asked doctors, healers, and wise women in the town. She tried potions, rituals, prayers. Nothing worked. By the time she turned 25, the fire had grown into a storm that consumed her thoughts, her desires, her every waking moment. She had been with almost every man in the village, paid them, begged them, pleaded for relief. And yet, the emptiness returned every time. Every night she lay in bed, tears soaking her pillow. She whispered to herself, "Why me? Why this curse? Why this secret I cannot share?" Her heart ached with loneliness. Her soul was heavy with shame. She wanted to live normally, to love, to be loved. But the fire, the relentless, burning fire inside her would not allow it. Her only solace came in her 2 closest friends, Zola and Kina. She trusted them with her deepest secrets. They were the only ones who knew the truth, that Amina's desire was uncontrollable, that it was more than passion. It was a need, a compulsion, a consuming blaze that demanded satisfaction. One afternoon, everything changed. As Amina walked out of a small, dusty cafe, her thoughts lost in the torment of her own fire, she collided with a young man. His name was Sadi, calm, gentle, different from anyone she had ever met. His eyes met hers, steady, soft, understanding. For the first time in years, Amina felt something unfamiliar, something she hadn't allowed herself to feel: hope. Her heart raced, her cheeks flushed. The world seemed to pause for a moment, holding its breath. Sadi smiled and said, "Are you okay?" And in that simple question, there was kindness, there was safety, there was warmth. Amina nodded, unable to speak. When he offered her a ride home, she agreed without hesitation. That night, she lay in bed, heart pounding, thinking of him, wondering if for the first time, maybe, just maybe, someone could understand her without judgment. Days turned into weeks. Amina and Sadi grew closer. They laughed, shared stories, held conversations that stretched into the night. Sadi confessed his love. Amina felt a joy she had never known. For a fleeting moment she believed. Maybe the fire inside her could be silenced. Maybe love could fix her, heal her. Maybe she could finally live a normal life. But the fire never stopped. Even as Amina loved Sadi, she could not quell the desire burning inside her. She tried to resist, tried to stay faithful, but the pull was too strong. Each day, she found herself sneaking out to meet other men, desperate for relief. She hated herself, hated the weakness, hated the shame. But the fire was too powerful to resist. Guilt consumed her. Every moment with Sadi was laced with fear and self-loathing, for she knew she was lying, and lying meant betraying the only person she had ever truly cared for. Then, one evening, Sadi surprised her. On a quiet terrace, under the dim glow of lanterns, he knelt. "Amina, will you marry me?" Shock froze her. Heart thundering, hands trembling, she whispered yes. And suddenly, the thought of sharing this news with her friends Zola and Kina consumed her mind. Pride, joy, relief, all tangled together in a knot of emotion. The next day, she met her friends at their usual spot. She proudly displayed the engagement ring, her smile wide, bright, almost radiant. They hugged her, celebrated, drank, laughed, imagining a beautiful future. Yet, as Amina glowed with happiness, something dark stirred in Kina. Kina had always lived in Amina's shadow. Love had eluded her. Opportunities had passed her by. And now, watching her friend, radiant, adored, seemingly unburdened, Kina felt a deep, consuming envy. How could someone carrying such a dark secret be rewarded with love and happiness? Her heart hardened, her mind plotted. The envy grew into obsession, and obsession into a plan. The wedding day arrived. The hall sparkled with flowers, laughter, music. Guests beamed, eager to witness the union. Amina's heart should have soared, but a shadow loomed. As the couple approached the altar, a flicker on the large screen caught everyone's attention. A video began to play. It wasn't a celebration. It wasn't memories of love. It was a betrayal. Footage of Amina, moments she had hidden, moments of desperation, moments of unrelenting desire, flashed across the screen. Gasps echoed, whispers spread. The hall felt colder. The secret she had carried for years, hidden in the deepest corners of her heart, was now exposed to the world. Sadi's face turned pale. Amina's world crumbled around her. She ran after him, tears blinding her, voice shaking. But he walked away, leaving her standing alone, broken, betrayed, humiliated. Zola rushed to her side, guiding her home as Amina wept uncontrollably. Her secret had destroyed her in one single moment. The days that followed were filled with agony. Regret, despair, and fear ruled her nights. She couldn't face her secret anymore, couldn't live in hiding, couldn't hide the fire any longer. And then she discovered the truth. It was Kina, her trusted friend, the one she confided in, driven by jealousy, envy, and desire. Kina had secretly recorded Amina's private life and played it at her wedding to ruin everything. But her plan failed. Sadi wanted nothing to do with betrayal. Amina, however, chose the difficult path. She sought professional help, therapy, treatments, months of pain, tears, frustration. Slowly she regained control, learned to manage the fire inside her. Every day was a battle, every night a struggle. But she fought. Months later, a letter arrived. It was from Sadi. He had thought deeply, reflected. He still cared. He understood that her struggles were beyond her control. He asked her to call. They spoke. For hours, they shared tears, fears, and forgiveness. Reconciliation was possible. Trust began to rebuild. Love, fragile but present, returned. Kina begged for forgiveness. Amina, in her heart, forgave her. But their friendship was never the same. It could never be the same. In time, Amina and Sadi married. Zola stood proudly as chief bridesmaid. Joy returned, life carried on. But Amina never forgot the lessons she learned, about secrets, about trust, about love, and the cost of envy. And in the quiet town of LUMA, whispers continued. But now, Amina's story carried hope. Moral: secrets will always find a way out. Seek help before it's too late. Choose carefully whom you trust. True healing begins with truth. True courage comes from facing the fire inside yourself. This is Wisdom Fireside. Thank you for listening.